move might make your head blow off.
Hey yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, Alpha Male God, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? And welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
Say it with me now. Alpha Male God, 51 Spade, a.k.a. the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
We got two exciting topics tonight. The first one is a man's happiness completely neglected in a relationship? And the second topic is, if two people in a relationship, if there's one person that has a higher sex drive than the other, should one person in the relationship step up or the other one fall back? And should either one of them feel guilty about it? So let's dive right into if a man's happiness or why a man's happiness is completely neglected in the relationship. Now, when the topic was brought to me, I disagreed from get-go. I really don't believe that's the way it is. I think men assume over one thing or another that their happiness doesn't matter. I think that's a complete assumption. And I think that is linked to a lack of communication on the man's behalf. A man may assume a woman knows what it takes to make them happy. And a lot of times, women are assuming that we know what makes you happy, but you're not telling us. So what the fuck are we supposed to do? It's not like men go around saying, I like this and I like that. That's something that women do. Honey, I want to go dancing. Honey, I like this and I like that. Men don't often give that type of communication. You know, they might drop hints or maybe watch something to give you an idea of what they might like, but they don't verbalize. So how the fuck are we supposed to know?
You almost, I don't know who you selling that to, but that sound good as usual. Boy, I gotta go through this.
You know what? It's not going through anything. It's taking you long because you realize that that's so true.
No, I don't realize nothing. How you gonna tell me what I realize? First of all, this is complete horseshit. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna say all, because I would never crop all women in like one, category to say like they don't care. But the topic was actually brought to me by some of the watchers that majority of the time we often cover like female like wants and things that go on the show. So it was actually being brought to my attention that, what about guys and just how certain females view things. If you take statistic numbers, they probably have your view on things as far as like how you view things and how most women view things. But the thing about it is like neglect is neglect all the way across the board. I was having a conversation with my son, and my son said, "Where's my thank you? What about the things that I do for her? Why I don't get these things?" And I told him, as a man, we're not expected to have. You're waiting for your thank you for things that you've done. If you're waiting for things that you've done in that relationship to have gratitude, you'll be waiting for a long time. Most women idea isn't, I'm not going to say it's even wrong. It's because if you look at a strong figure, most women think that a strong figure is just always okay. I'm not talking about minuscule things, and men do say things, but those things to women, because it is a woman, women just don't relate, just like a man wouldn't relate to a woman. A man isn't going to relate to a woman saying, "Hey, I want to go dancing. Hey, will you take me to the opera? Will you take me to Broadway?" They're going to look minuscule to men because these are things that men don't want. And then when men ask for certain things, women do the same thing in return. They look at those things and don't think they're big. They think that they're minuscule. They think that those things. So I don't really want to say that it's an all around like, no. I would say that statistic wise, I would say it will come off as most women don't care whether the man is happy in the relationship or not. But I'm not even saying that it's supposed to go that way. Reason being is because in relationship, most women have like from baby to 18 to view how a relationship's supposed to go. Most men don't even start realizing things about relationships until after they're 18. Probably not even serious relationships to like 25 or 30. Your time is real minimum. So I'm not even going to say that most men even know necessarily what they want out of that relationship because they spend half of their time trying to figure out like, well, what does it take to make the woman happy? It's even said happy wife, happy life. So that's why the man is often shelved because it often is going to be going that way of a woman.
Again, I don't think that changed my opinion on the subject. I think that men just have an odd way of communicating what it is that they need. Now, what they want is often communicated.
I have nothing to do with happiness though.
Well, I think
because the subject is happiness.
Well,
do women care about a man's happiness?
of course they do, but
No, they don't.
but in order to fulfill that, we have to know what it is that you want or need or what it is that you desire. Now, the first questions that are answered in a relationship is what does he need? Because the first thing we want to know is, oh, okay, the first thing we find out in the first hour is you don't eat pork. Okay, so we know when we make dinner, we ain't doing no pork. So so it would make you happy to come home with pork ribs and baked beans with bacon in them.
That's a
and
want.
coleslaw, something
That's
that you don't eat. It still is linked. Your wants and needs or any of your desire is linked to if you're happy or unhappy. Any one of them.
No, it doesn't. There's a lot of things about men that can be linked to their happiness that their women don't even know a lot of times. So
because you don't communicate it. That's why.
Well, guess what?
You communicate that you don't eat pork and that you ain't had that shit in 5 years and you lost 50 pounds, but you ain't gonna tell me about your emotional well-being.
Men do communicate about their well-being. But I won't give credit to all men because a lot of times is women. Y'all don't always have men. See, the thing that I want to stop is because when y'all get with real men, y'all be like, oh, I never felt this before. This is what it's like to be with a real man. So you are explaining what it's like to be with the bum ass motherfuckers that y'all normally with. Those are the ones that don't know how to communicate to you. Those are the ones that y'all always are trying to put on this statistic scale because they're so lower down. They're so lower down that y'all count them anyway. When a man tells y'all what you want, that's where off those things come where that, well, that's not fair. And I don't understand why I have to be that way. When you run into that, often you don't, when most women, when they run into that, they start hearing a very vocal man saying shit that he won't, that the woman starts saying, well, that shit ain't fair. Well, what about me? I mean, I just feel like it should be 50-50, or I should feel like it should be like this, or I should feel it should be like that. Y'all often start a lot of sentences with the word feel. You're not a man. So, for one, you can never give the opinion about a man because you're not one.
No, but I know a lot of women, and I know most
what does women
of
have to
them
do about a man?
Break their ass to make sure the man in the house is happy.
How do they know that?
Based on what you've communicated, which is my issue. If your woman thinks you're happy and you've been with her for 5-6 years, I doubt at the end of the day that I'm gonna blame her because she's doing everything she can to make you happy, or so to speak, what she thinks makes you happy. And
she's assuming.
Wait a minute. If I have
she's
to,
assuming.
But if I have to use the word assume in any of the relationships that I know about, that's a problem because there shouldn't be an assumption. You know why? Because the man should be able to communicate what makes him happy. So if in the sentence she's saying, well, like I'm saying, we do what we think makes the man happy. The fact that I have to use the word think in that sentence is a problem. And it's mostly linked to the man not opening his mouth and saying what makes him happy. I know women do it. I don't want to do that. I want to be taken out dancing. I don't want to cook tonight, babe. I think I deserve a night out to eat. Men are not saying that when a woman comes home and said, babe, what do you want for dinner? Most likely a guy gonna be like, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you later. It's not, you know what? I've been on the computer all day. I really don't want you to cook. I really just rather go to Red Lobster tonight. Men are kind of like, whatever. They're not expressing how they feel and what would make them feel better. That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like that's all in one phrase. Basically, what I'm saying is, babe, how was your day? It was good. It's minimal. It was good, but I did sit here all day and my back hurt. That should be the follow-up. Instead, it's silence or I'm good, one word answers. And at the end of the night, when you're complaining about the silence in the house, then they want to say, oh, my back hurt. Or the next day, well, babe, damn, we went a whole night without talking. Well, I had a headache. Well, damn, it probably would have made sense to tell me that shit last night, so I'd have stayed the fuck out of your face, which would have made you happy. If I'd have stayed the fuck out of your face because you had a headache. But because you couldn't verbalize that you had a headache, you weren't happy because I was in your face and asking you 10,000 questions, all because you don't know how to talk.
You know the difference between men and women? Even, y'all assume a lot of shit. But men have to pull teeth and will continue to pull teeth because that's what y'all expect. Women can just settle with the first answer that they given. See, men, you start off with a woman. What's wrong with you? Nothing. We know something's wrong. It's written all over your face, and then we have to do follow-up questions, and then we have to do another report. See, women don't do shit like this. That's why you're smiling over here and smirking. Women don't do shit like this. Women ask one question and then just good with that. And y'all do that with a lot of shit. It's funny, like, when y'all really, really want something, y'all can go after it. You want a career? Ain't no boss asking you what you want, but you know how to get into those books. You know how to go after the job that you want. You know how to figure out all this type of shit that go on. That's way more complicated than a man. But when it come to a man, now it's all of a sudden you El Stupo. Like, you don't understand what's going on no more. All of a sudden, it's too hard or too difficult a task to kind of figure this shit out. But the assumption part that you're talking about, like I said, that's not going to be for every man. I don't know majority of men saying like what they don't want or where they don't want to go, or at least not in my circle. I don't know no men answering questions like that. And that's why I say a lot of times with women, they end up with not necessarily a man. I'm just going to say just a significant other. And they experience those type of things. But I have ran into women that once they run into a man, they kind of see like how things really go. And I wouldn't even say that it's a situation of not saying whether it's a mandatory happiness or not. I'm going to just say that men are used to being on the back burner of shit. Just in life in general.
But if we pose the question like that are men's feelings on the back burner? Absolutely. I would 100% agree that in most cases, if you have an alpha male, a strong man, a man that wears a pants in the home, then in most cases, you're right. He's valiant. He's a superhero. It's not going to be like, babe, are you okay? It's not going to be that way because you have somebody who walks around like the Man of Steel. So yes,
but just walking around, right. But just walking around like the Man of Steel, that's why I said I want to concentrate on just topic wise is like whether those feelings are getting tend to, and that is the reason why they're not. I'm not saying that they're done on purpose or they're done with mild intent. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you ask like majority of the women if they man is happy or not, they don't even fucking really know the answer to that.
Are you kidding me? That's crazy for you to say.
No, it's not crazy for you to say, because if that's the case, I'm almost guarantee you line up 20 women, you line up 20 women and you ask them. It's because women often make assumptions. They give you a bunch of shit that they do for them that they think is making the man happy. But once you ask the man, is he happy? He didn't ask for that shit. And that's the problem. That's where the miscommunication is going from. You assuming because you're doing a bunch of shit that you like, well, I do this. I fix his favorite meal. I suck his dick. I do all this type of shit. You're assuming that he happy.
But if the person is going through all that to make you happy, do you really believe they think that you're not happy? That's what I'm saying. So if a person is making your favorite food, sucking your dick, you're having threesomes, you smell good, your breath is clean, you got all your ducks in a row,
what
and
man
you could
still talking about.
I'm just building I'm not talking about the man. I'm talking about the female. If the female is doing all that to please her guy, and he still has the nuts to assume in his mind that this bitch don't know what to do to make me happy, then the problem is the guy who's not communicating to that person. Because if it's one thing that she can do, if she's doing 100 things and it's only one thing that you want, the breakdown has to be bad communication. Ain't no way she doing all that shit and leaving that one thing that would make you happy off the list. That makes absolutely no sense. A person who is giving themselves like that would do anything. She just needs to know what the fuck it is. I'm on her side. She just doesn't know. There's no way she's doing 1,000 things and only one matters to her guy. She just isn't clear on what that one thing is. She cannot be clear.
I don't care if it's one thing, 2 things, 3 things. It really doesn't matter. See, that's not the subject. The subject is not about whether the man is communicating. The subject,
but she can only make you happy if you communicate. So it's one and the same.
It's the problem right here. See, and also when men talk, women do one-directional conversations. They always using that word like, but if he's starting to, but I feel like, but they use a bunch of this bullshit terminology to sit there and try to convince theyself that they doing a fantastic job when that is not accurate. The thing about the thing that you're missing about the shit is like, is the man happy and does the woman even care about it? And I'm gonna say no, because they go with the idea of what they're doing they think is right. When y'all start talking about shit of like y'all get cheated on or there was shit that was missing and this and that, then y'all start saying, well, what did this woman do that I wasn't doing? And then you start finding out some other shit that is completely different. This is also why some of this shit actually happens. It's because you're doing all this shit. Because every woman starts saying, but I was doing this and I was doing this. They sound like you. I was doing this and doing this and that. And then they be like, but some other woman swooped in and did some other shit. And they was like, well, you could have communicated this to me, or you could have said
that's
this.
Damn right. And that would be the right reaction. Because if she doing some shit that I didn't know about, who the fuck is wrong?
But you're
me
wrong.
Or the person? How? You're not saying I don't like my dick sucked like that. That doesn't make me happy.
You're wrong.
You got the damn talk.
Care enough to find out. That's all.
So I need to find out how you like your dick sucked instead of you telling me how you like your dick sucked. Really?
Care enough to find out. That's the thing about it. Is like that's why I said like your attitude of what you're saying right now, you're just proving my point.
Oh,
yes,
it's just
you are.
Frustrating.
But
it's stupid.
I know.
Because I'm not gonna have nobody go down on me and hurting me. I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't like it like that hard and that fast. I like it slow and gentle. I'm not finna. Well, if he care enough to find out, I guess I'll let him munch until he get it right. Who the fuck does that? You
want me to debunk your theory? You was with somebody for 6 months, 7 months. Hold on. You want to talk that shit, right? See, before you start talking that shit, just know. So for 6 months, you was rocking with somebody that didn't know what the problem was.
No, I told them what the problem was. What are you talking about? I communicated that the sex was bad. I didn't go with him like, I just ain't gonna say nothing. No, every time he nut in 5 seconds, I said, wow, that ain't gonna work. What the fuck is you talking about? From day one, I didn't leave. But I still verbalized that this is not going to work. You got to get better at that. I never said I didn't say anything. It took 6 months to figure that out? 6 months. Well, I liked him for more things than just the sex.
So shut it up. So my point being is like that right there, what you talking about, since you saying like, well, men just don't do this and men don't do that. Like you see some of the delusional woman type shit that women go through, like to think that something that is not working for her is gonna get better. What would you like? You like that he was taking advantage of you?
No, I like.
What'd you like? You like the simple fact that every time that he might have came, or did you like the simple fact that another woman said, "Well, I wasn't having no problem with him. What's your problem?"
I didn't talk to her, so I don't know that. That's based
on. But it came up though, right?
That's just what he said. And who wouldn't? If a nigga dick don't work. Of course he ain't gonna say that it's my dick. Don't nobody else say that. Of course. That's a default answer. Don't nobody believe that shit. So you just come in 5 minutes with me. Yeah, right. Come on now. That's the damn lie. And he told it.
So my thing is, did you do anything to help him get along with his quick name?
I did what I could do. I cared enough to make a conversation about it. But instead of ignoring him and going to give somebody else the cookies, I let him know that he need to tighten up. That's all I needed to do.
So you
I didn't need
threatened
to
him.
do no more than that.
So you threatened him.
Yes, I did threaten him at the end. That
So-
during the end, I sure did.
Yeah, I'm quite sure it wasn't at the end.
No,
See,
it was at the end. I did.
I'm quite sure it wasn't. In your
It was.
in your version, I'm sure it was at the end. Because every time I talk to women, when they be saying some shit about some shit they did to a man, they always say like, well, toward the end, it was like that. No, the fuck, it wasn't at the end. Those threats was coming way
I
before
wouldn't.
them.
No, I'm not gonna threaten a guy that I'm
When people
trying to
get
work it
high-pitched
out with.
voices and they start
I
lying.
got frustrated towards the end and
Nah,
let him know that,
frustration.
hey, do you want me to go fuck someone else? That's when you have given up. That ain't when you want it to work out. You don't say no shit like that to somebody that you want to stay with you. You say that to somebody that you let know that you on your way out the fucking door. So of course I said it at the end. I communicated the bad sex the entire time. I really, really did. And I don't blame myself. Yes, it was wasted time. It was a wasted 6 months. And yes, I probably, the correct answer is as soon as the sex was bad after the first time, I should have left. But again, as I've said on the show, I was brought up to not put everything on sex. So if that was one thing that was bad, there were a couple of things that were bad, I wasn't going to just walk away just because of the sex. I at least communicated that the sex needed to get better somehow. And when it didn't, yes, I gave him that ultimatum. Either you going to get it right or someone else going to get it right.
Gotcha.
One or the other.
And a lot of men give these ultimatums too, and this is the point that I was talking about. See, a lot of times men give these type of ultimatums too that women, like, even though you in your relationship, I can understand that you might say some of that shit, but that shit don't fly for every woman because every woman think they're every woman to their man. And this is why I'm saying that shit does not matter. A man can sit there and say, look, man, I need a threesome. That don't mean every man getting that shit. A man could be like, some women have defaults of things that just come with them. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's personality or stuff like that. Like for me, I have things that bother me because I'm a very private person. So I can be a private person and handle things a certain way. But my mate could be totally different and can blab everything. Just in regular conversation, just talking to other people, and I could be like, this is a problem for me. And they don't understand why it's a problem. Well, I was just talking to them and, well, don't you think that you having a conversation about somebody else, about me, is wrong to have? I'm not saying she did it intentionally, but that could be her. But that also could be things that piss me off, that make me mad. And what is she supposed to do about fixing it? I don't really know, because that might just be her personality. There are things that come into conversation that a lot of men are very open about. And that frustration part that you're talking about is the shit that frustrates men. Because me talking about, why do you have the need to always run your mouth to such and such and such and such and such and such? That becomes frustrating to a man. I'm trying to tell you that this makes me, but the adjustments just seem like they're never just being met. Sometimes you could be with a woman and y'all in long relationships, like these relationships where people have met their high school sweetheart and this and that. It's kind of hard to change. Like for a man, you would say to yourself, well, shit, we've been together like 15, 16, 17 years, and now I might want to spice a relationship up, and it ain't the way that the woman wants.
To spice it up.
Yeah. So when he's saying those type of things, this is why I'm saying, like, does the woman just really look at that and be like, I should please my man just the way that he's asking me to, or is that shit gonna be met with some resistance? So you want to put money on how it's gonna be met?
If we're switching gears to a man who does communicate, because that's what you just did. You took my argument, squashed it based on the fact that now we're talking about a man who is saying,
hold on.
This is what I need.
And before you go, disclaimer. Before I even said that, I said that most men that you're going to be talking about is going to be men that you be in shitty relationships with. So that's why I didn't want to stay completely on that. You understand?
Because you're saying the guys who are shitty are the ones who are not communicating, but that's not true.
Well, what I'm saying is those are the ones that most women are often complaining about. But at the same point in time, there are men out here that openly say things that they want, and the woman just totally disregard it, just like what I just said. Like if you've been in that relationship that long, And there are certain people that are raised just certain ways. So let's just say, for instance, like if you was married 15, 20 years and then you jump back out here dating, I'm quite sure that you're going to have the same mentality you had when you started 17 years ago.
No.
Because not you. And that isn't accurate, because I actually talked to a woman who actually admitted to, I haven't been out here on the dating field, so I'm trying to figure out how you gonna know how to date. Talk 17 years later.
But you though, you said the same intentions or the same agenda, and that can't be if you've gone from 18 to 35. Your agenda and the way you move, it should be totally different. I'm not. You're an alien.
Not your agenda, the way that you view things. Because if someone has been married and never had to date, they still thinking that the dating scene or the way things are should still be the same. They're not going to just come to the shit and say, well, it's a new dating field, so I just need to switch. They don't know how to switch because they never dated. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So those conversations that I've had with women, they was like, shit, I don't even like this new dating shit because I didn't have to do this.
That's right. They got to skip over it.
Yeah.
I get that part. But again, now that we're talking about men who actually do communicate, I will say this. Not to make a man's desires seem small or not important, I'm going to stick on the way men communicate. And most of the time, when men are saying that they like something or they desire something, it comes from a very immature place. It doesn't come from a place like, hey, I need to sit down and talk to you. I need this. I want this. This is how I feel. It usually comes out based on some type of emotion, which leads to a very immature way of communicating, either by yelling angrily or by saying something completely ridiculous like, I need some more pussy, ha 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 ha. It ain't, let's sit down and talk about how I feel like based on my instinct, I can't be with one woman. That ain't the way we're getting the message. We're getting the message because so-and-so having threesomes and damn, babe, I think I want to do that shit. They relationship look real hot. Well, if you got a woman that's doing 1,000 different things, which is no fault of your own, to make you happy or doing what she thinks makes you happy, to say that to her in an immature way is going to be met with opposition or is going to be neglected or ignored. Because in her mind, I'm not talking about me, but in her mind, off the delivery, it's like, yeah, right. And you got a lot of fucking nerve and you play too much and you're not serious anyway. Just because your communication in that field, to me, as far as I have seen, has been very immature. I have not sat around a lot of men who could even have a conversation about things like that in a setting without making it sound immature. I just recently was trying to have a grown-up conversation about just lifestyle, not particularly my lifestyle, but lifestyle, just an alternative lifestyle involving polyamory. And I got a whole bunch of, I would like that. And just to me, that wasn't where I was going. I wasn't trying to have a sexual conversation with a whole bunch of people. But when you say things like, I'm kind of interested in a polyamorous lifestyle. I'm using intelligent words to have an intelligent conversation in a sincere way. And the reaction to that is, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have 2 vaginas. It just goes to a place that is sometimes not respected. And we don't have to keep it sexual, but I'm just giving you an example of how the breakdown in communication is when you're talking to women who have their shit together. And now you want to be a communicator, but you want to communicate around the block and down under the bridge. You don't want to sit down and have a straight, mature conversation about your needs and wants. So yeah, you might be communicating, but you're not communicating on the same level as that woman who you're expecting all this shit from, in my opinion.
Y'all hear this bullshit? It is fucking mighty strange, and this is why I'm saying like men are definitely women don't get no fuck about like what men think. She had the audacity to to sit there and say that men communicate immaturely.
They do.
I let you talk, so zip that shit up. She have the audacity to say men communicate immaturely. Fellas, have you ever communicated with your woman? I don't know a bitch on this planet. I don't know one that can communicate maturely. You slam shit. Talk underneath your breath. Threaten. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is immaturely. From the same person a few minutes ago said, well, you want me to go fuck somebody else, right? Mature, right? This is what we talking about, right? I want y'all to listen to the motherfucking bullshit that's coming out of my mouth. Because see, when they get on the road talking about some shit that they think sounds good, like I say every show, but here we go with the fucking horse shit. Yeah. Communicate maturely, she says. Sit down at the table and pull out the tablecloth with tea, with your finger up in the air and say, you know, dear, I was thinking to myself that I would like to partake in some extracurricular activities of another woman. This is what she's telling me is lacking because women communicate this shit
It's
so
true.
so.
It's true.
Please don't strike a dog. Please, this not near me. Just don't do it near me.
So true.
This is what she's talking about. No, this is definitely not what we talking about. I would never sit there and even impose my will and say that men can communicate more maturely than women, but you damn sure ain't selling me on no shit about some fucking women communicating shit maturely, because that is some shit that I know 100% for a fact that women are incapable of doing. Bitch get on a rampage, she's a bitch on wheels. You can guarantee that. You ain't finna get anything that's commuting that's like maturely. Your windows might be bashed out. You might be going to jail that night from your hands being wrapped around her throat because she done said some insulting shit. But she sure ain't sitting at no table with your ass to rationalize out this argument. So we're gonna move to the point of the simple fact that at the end of the day, I can agree that it's for certain people it could be a miscommunication gap, but at the same point in time, women just assume a lot of shit. Y'all are able to get any and everything done like that y'all want to, all the way down to when it comes to men. All of a sudden, it's just too goddamn hard. So I would have to go with, like I said, the original thing is like, not that y'all don't care, it's just by default. You know what I'm saying? It's just like y'all put y'all feelings first, and that's just what it is. And y'all go from the standpoint of saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. Like, even that shit that you're talking about a mature man wouldn't sit down with that. If a mature man sat down in front of you and said that type of shit, you would still find something wrong with that.
Whatever. I'm going to stick to what I said. It's ineffective communication. And we're going to stick on the subject of ineffective communication when it comes to your sexual relationship with your partner. If one person is more sexually active than the other, is one partner supposed to step up, or should the other partner fall back? And should either of those people feel guilt or shame? Why don't you start us off on this one?
Go ahead, lady.
I'm ashamed.
The first part of the question is, if one person has higher sex drive than the other, should one person step up or fall back? I will say that it should be 60-40. 60% step up, 40% fall back. And I only say 40% fall back because of life. There are long work days, back pain, headaches, kids, work. So you have to give 40% to life. It's always not a great time to have sex. But I put the 60% on step up because I think that sex is a huge part of a relationship. It is a huge part of a woman's emotional health. I don't know if anybody's been doing a lot of any reading up on emotional health on both ends, whether you're a man or a woman. There are a lot of things that you do sexually that release very healthy endorphins. They are healing. They relieve stress. And I'm really big on this philosophy, which I won't take too deep in this conversation. But there are things that we do to our body every day that are very damaging. and they are not physical things. They are all emotional things. We are when someone hurts our feelings and we cry, we're doing damage to an organ. Point blank period. When we are stressed out under an amount of stress, you're doing harm to all of your organs, your kidneys, your heart. You're hurting yourself. So if your partner is verbalizing to you that I need sex, it's not all about her feeling that need in her vagina. It's actually her feeling the need in her heart. It's her feeling the need in her kidneys. It's her feeling the need in her stomach. It's her feeling her need in her head and her back. All of that shit is being affected by you giving her that 35, 45 minute or 2 hour sex window. Whatever time you can give to it is healing. It's not only about a nut, it's about healing the person biologically. And so that's why I give it the sex 60%. You need to step up, absolutely. 40% fall back. And should one partner or the other feel guilty? Absolutely. If you are not meeting your partner's needs, you should feel guilty. You should get vitamins, supplements, take your fat ass to the gym, whatever it is you need to do to put you in a better shape to fix your woman biologically, medically, mentally, physically, emotionally, then you need to step up and you need to do what you need to do to make sure that she's getting what she needs. Sex is not just about making the person come. It's become a very important part of mental health and all those other things.
Gotcha. Oh boy. I'll entertain this. You know what's so crazy? When you sit at home sometimes, a lot of times, I'm going to take the example of people that watch TV like late at night and they have like these infomercials that come on your television. And they'll have like some type of pill or something that come on. And they'll be like, these side effects are blah, 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 blah. And you'd be like, I think I have that. Like, no matter what side effect they start saying, you have those symptoms. I'll tackle two angles. Now I'm going to tackle the first one of a nymphomaniac. A nymphomaniac probably needs to check in with her doctor if I'm talking from a woman's standpoint to see if she's a nymphomaniac. See, those endorphins and everything that you talking about, those might be true. But women have the tendency to overdose on shit that ain't good for them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's good to have sex, not 7 days a week. Or like day in and day out. You might want to have that, but not good day in and day out like that. So I would suggest you go see a doctor, see if you're a nymphomaniac. And like most crackheads, if you're a nymphomaniac, find a nymphomaniac. You don't have to be an even split. You find two nymphomaniacs and y'all at 100% nympho status. Now, the flip side of that is we're talking from the standpoint of what she was just talking about as far as a woman. And that shit sound good, don't it? Sounds good when a woman starts saying, well, you should step your game up and you need to do this because there's certain things that endorphin. But when you flip that shit around and it becomes a man, it becomes bullshit from the man's standpoint. Because when a man starts saying some shit about the extra sex that he need, he's going to be met with, I got a headache. He's going to be met with, I don't feel like it. I'm just not in the mood. She don't want to get dressed. She's getting fat. She don't want to go to the gym. She don't want to do any of this shit to step up her game because that's what Miss Lassiter is talking about. Because she's only speaking from the nymphomaniac span, from her span. But there are men out here that is met with this shit day in and day out. You don't want to give me no pussy? Then get your friend to give me some pussy. Go find me some pussy. Like, goddamn. But is that shit going to be met? Fuck no, that shit ain't going to be met. I'm going to have to swallow the pill and deal with it the best way I can. But from a woman's standpoint, they want you to jump hoops, do all this other type shit. But women won't do that shit for men. Day in and day out, I see this shit like, damn, baby, like, what's going on? We met with bonnets, you know what I'm saying, unfacial recognition that goes on from when you first met her. You don't even know what's going on anymore. and God forbid don't let them have kids, you will become not the number one priority, depending on how many kids she have. You might start yourself to go down a bunch of notches. And if she puts religion in there, you might find yourself fourth down on the list.
That has nothing to do with whether you should step up or fall the fuck back.
Yes, it does. Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like, from a standpoint of a woman, I get that. But I just feel like those measures will not be met for a man. Because there are men, because men are sexually charged too. But no woman is going to go all out of their way for a man
Well,
that wants
lose some of that to be her bad, though.
But hey, like you said, this ain't what we talking about. We're talking about if they should step their game up.
They should absolutely.
I didn't say anything about them not. I'm just saying that those points that you're making and your debate was, you're speaking from a woman's standpoint, should the man step up? I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? From your standpoint. But what I'm saying is, from a man,
would you get the same?
Yeah, from a man's standpoint, a man isn't going to be met with that. If a man is sexually charged, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just speaking from a man's standpoint. If a man is sexually charged and want to fuck all the time, this and that, he going to be met with some resistance unless he's with his mate that they're equally yoked. But sometimes that's not always the case. There's going to be plenty of times when men don't really meet they match, like, sexually, and there's going to be some women don't really meet they mate sexually. You get
This
what I'm
is
saying?
what I run into. This is what I find. I find that in most cases that I know about, the male and the female are equally yoked as far as how much they like sex. It's just that the timing is off. She wants to have sex when he doesn't want to, and he wants to have sex the way he wants to. So I'll break it down. When a woman is in the mood, in most cases, it's not the right time for the guy. In most, she's in the mood while you're on the game. She's in the mood while you're working on your music or taking a tutorial. She's in the mood while you got a phone call that you waiting on and you don't want to miss it. Like, that's when she wants to have sex with you. When you want to have sex, it's not that she doesn't want to. It's just that right now, you trying to hit from the back and she in the mood to make love. Right now, you want a quickie and she rather take things slow. That's what I'm hearing about on my end. It's never that, no, I don't want to have sex with you. It's just that I don't want to do it that way. And on the other way around, it's, hey, I want to have sex and right now it's just not the right time. So with men, it's about timing. And with women, it's about how we're going to do what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And a lot of most men aren't going to feel like in the morning, you know what, I want to make love to my woman. Most of the time in my experience, it's been, damn, babe, I just seen this, maybe you saw something. Men are turned on at different times of the day. When the wind blow a certain way, your dick hard. You want to have sex right then. And it might be because, you only got 35 minutes. So it's like, why don't you bend over right here and let me get it? Let's get this shit over with. And her mind is, yeah, I want to have sex with you, but damn, like that? Because every time I've done that, when it was over, I'm like, damn, that could have lasted a lot longer if we just would have waited till we fed the kids first, then put them to bed, and then we could have just took our time. Now, the guy has busted his nut off that quickie. You haven't gotten satisfied yet, and guess what? When it's time to go to bed, he ain't got the shit back right yet. So, he done busted the nut for the day. You got to now wait 2 more days because your ass wanted a 30-minute quickie. That's whack.
I believe it's right. But unfortunately, we're men and you're women, and at the end of the day, this is probably why, and this is the realest shit I'm gonna tell you. I want women to even pay attention to this shit even when I'm speaking it. It's fair game. The reason those things go like that is because women, for some reason, maybe it's something that God was like, hey, I'm just gonna curse them with it and make them just deal with it. Men are very visual creatures.
Yes.
When we see sex, you're not in a, let me take a snapshot, a Rolodex, or any of that shit, and we can just keep it going.
Right.
women don't have dicks, so they don't know what a man is actually dealing with. When a man say, "Let me get that shit right now," that is your, that is his way of telling you that you don't get this shit now. It could be a
But
rap.
what
Hold
good
on,
is
this
getting
let-
it if it's not gonna
let
get
me-
you off?
Let me talk. Let me talk. It's not always about it's not always about getting off, because you know what's so crazy for me? Like, you new modern bitches, boy, I tell you. Like, for some strange reason, for years, bitches would fuck and it would just be like, I just fucked to please my man. Now y'all got rights, and it's like, you know what? If I don't get that nut, I just don't see no sense in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we in a fucking relationship. You know what I'm saying? You probably can do that shit where you will have the right to pull cords and plug and all that type of shit. Like, I don't want to fuck you in your bonnet either, but you bring your motherfucking ass to the damn bedroom with all that type of shit. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm not even arguing about what you're saying. What I'm saying is, like, in a relationship, there's gonna be some people that take some L's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't always want to fuck my lady. You know what I'm saying? Especially when she's saying let's fuck. Like, I find that like the most unattractive shit like ever heard, because I'm not used to women that talk that way. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Don't you want to fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't find that shit attractive. You know what I'm saying? And different men are different. Like, I like women to be aggressive with me as far as like talking wise, but I don't like women aggressive with me, like putting my hands on them. But I'm a man. Like, I know how to like be aggressive with a woman, but when women start taking your hand and trying to pull it
Well, if a
over,
woman gotta take your hand and pull it, that means you
I
ain't
didn't
touching
ask
her when she
you-
want to be touched.
I didn't ask you
What's
that.
the point?
I didn't ask you that. That just means that she's trying to start something. She just isn't capable of starting it the right way. She's starting it the way that she want to, and that's why I said certain people just take L's in certain situations. So if a guy is in a situation where, like what you said, he like, hey, let's just get it now, I would suggest that. It's not like you don't like women don't always get like some of the things that they want, because the difference between a man and a woman, see, if a man didn't get a threesome, he don't go around the house saying, sure would like that threesome, asked for that threesome last week, asked for that threesome last month, sure would like that threesome. But a woman, she'll drop that shit into the ground. We had sex the other day, but I was thinking today we could make love. I was thinking like maybe later on, baby, that it's just gonna be me and you, and you know, like, well, I'm gonna drive the shit into the ground. You know,
Something's wrong with you.
No, ain't nothing wrong with me. This is facts. You know what I mean? Like, they gonna make sure that point is made to the guy, just like, you know what, I guess I'm making love tonight.
Honor
You know
the
what I'm saying?
difference. Honor this difference, though. If you're gonna speak about the difference between a man and a woman, especially in reference to you need to get it when you can get it. Understand that a woman can come over and over and over again. Your ass got one and done.
That's
You
not true.
ain't
That's not
finna.
true.
I am not finna risk
That's not true.
my nut and my biological well-being and emotional health on your 5-minute damn quickie when
that?
you know you ain't gonna be ready to fuck in another 4 hours. I'm ready to fuck 30 minutes after we done.
See these modern
isn't.
see these modern women. See, they get to talking that shit, and then they also, like, let me tell you a thing about modern women. Modern women start doing shit like this. They so fucking delusional, picky, and fucking choosy. See, no matter what it go down, they all fucking got a problem with everything that you do. Like, I'm not gonna risk my health and this and that. See, if it become a big dick that they gon' see, now all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe we need to slow up a little bit. If you was with someone that was not your typical mate that you would go to, you wouldn't be talking that shit. You will be trying to find a way to adjust. And that's what I'm telling your ass right now. You better fucking adjust. Everybody don't get the mate that they always want. This is just the reality of it. Just because you can, is a woman, go over and over again, that's fine. But if you in a relationship with your guy, then y'all find a way to make it work the same way that he finds a way to make it work. y'all are not leaving each other because at some point in time y'all have mind-blowing sex. Y'all just got to get to the point. But you're not going to tell me just because you can do it over and over again, like, hooray for you.
But that's
at the
the
end,
whole point of the person. That's the whole point of this argument. Is you're saying no, get it when you can. You need to step up when your man wanna fuck. When he wanna fuck you, you need to fuck him. What I'm saying is that why are we taking all the risk? Why are we taking all the risk in that?
but why is a man not taking a risk at all? This is what I want to hear.
What is the risk in your ass? You gonna bust a nut no matter what, whether it take you 30 minutes or 5. You gonna nut and be finished. If there's a chance that and there are some guys who can go again, but there is a huge chance that if you fuck me at 3, that most in cases you ain't fucking me again at 9.
Well, guess what? This is what I tell you. This is what I tell most women to do. Stop trying to fucking rape your men. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you want to fuck later on, do a quickie. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't require any nutting or anything going on. You can get a couple of strokes in. You know what I'm saying? Get your little quench of thirst. Let those endorphins release. You know what I'm saying?
Do not like you.
For like a little while, and then later on for the main course. It's just like a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? You go in there and get a little appetizer. You know what I'm saying? Get a little bit of strokes in. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I'm saying? Then stop. You know what I'm saying? Then, you know what I'm saying? Then we can go on later on, you know, after dinner or some shit like that, and then we can have the main course. But no, women want to rape. You know what I'm saying? And violate, you know what I'm saying? And get shit on and then make you nothing be like, well, shit, like, well, fuck, what I'm going to do later? Then start using this thing up here, you know what I'm saying? And we can just start rationing it out little by little if that's the case. But every man also isn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, every man is not like that. I just watched a podcast the other day. The girl was like, man, my dude bust 3-4 nuts just like that. And she was like, it's kind of aggravating to her because she used to do. That's why I said, like, no matter what a woman choose, they just always find something to fucking, like, argue about. She's sitting there arguing about a nigga nutting 3 times because when he busts, he ready to fuck again, and she not. Then he fuck, and then he busts again, and he ready to fuck again, and she like, well, hold up, I need a break. You understand what I'm saying? But I bet her ass praying for that one and done dude then, but now she not. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, everybody is not gonna always be evenly yoked. Like, it's like you're just playing the field like it goes sometimes. Like, you think men, there's gonna be men that, not saying that men choose the woman that they want, but I'm quite sure some men want a woman that's finer than the woman that they have. Yeah. And they just deal with it, deal with it go. And I'm quite sure, women deal with the same shit. So the sexual thing is just going to come into play. I just feel like there could be a conversation. If things ain't going really well how it is, you might need to adjust. You know what I'm saying? What you're talking about is insanity. Like, y'all doing the same shit over and over again and it just ain't working. Try doing some different shit.
We could, but I want to make clear that the example you gave of trying to have an appetizer and then a cocktail and separate that from the main course, you acting like a motherfucker that can open a Twix and not eat both sides. You gonna eat both of them motherfuckers. So don't tell me that while you having your appetizer, you ain't finna bust no motherfucking nut. Because you gonna eat both them Twix, the right and the left Twix, when you open that pack. I think you gonna bust a nut when you eating that appetizer. Don't play me.
Remember what I told you about that disclaimer about nymphomaniacs? Like, I don't understand, or I don't know what type of people that certain people dealing with, especially over here. But anyway, there are plenty of people I know that have plenty of control, little quickies here and there, play around the whole time. I used to mess with a chick that she didn't want all that shit like right away. Throughout the day, she would tease. She would, you know what I'm saying, give me like some head and be like, oh, you gonna get the real shit later. Like, what I'm supposed to say? Give me them 2 Twix now. You know what I'm saying? like, see what I'm saying? But see, nymphomaniacs get aggressive and they're like, well, you gonna eat both of them Twix right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Skittles is over the rainbow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get what's going on right here. But I'm saying some people do have self-control. I don't know who Kana dealing with, but I'm just saying, like, those examples that I'm giving, I'm being real. Like, I'm not saying people can't step up. There's always room and improvement for people to step up, exercise, diet, the whole thing. But you also have to also learn how one another works.
For
you
sure.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm more of a person that like to have sex at night, not really like a day fucker. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I can't. I'm just saying I don't prefer. But if the mood is right, you know what I'm saying, shit set up, you know what I'm saying, probably do a couple of strokes, 5. You know what I'm saying? And we
Five.
and we keep it moving. But you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And now it's time for the tap in session or section of
I got
the
it.
show. What's the tap in?
Check this shit out. I always have these interesting. My boyfriend not talking to me. He's mad because another man has been texting me and trying to get with me. But I feel he's wait. What is he saying? Oh, and it's starting to get on my nerve. And I really feel like if you fuck with me, then you would fight for me instead of getting mad. This must be one of these new modern day women. Lassiter?
So she's asking him to fight with her?
No, she's saying that another dude is texting her trying to get with her. But she feel like if her boyfriend fucks with her, instead of being mad, he should fight for her.
That bitch has lost her entire mind. So she's basically creating a scenario for him to show how chivalrous he is. There is another way he can show you that he loves you and that he will protect you outside of you making trouble, which is what she's doing. This is someone who just needs a little attention. And this is where we're talking about bad communication. She's communicating that she needs attention through talking to someone else. She's talking to the wrong person. She needs to talk to the person she's in a relationship with, not someone who she doesn't know, who she's only using to make her boyfriend mad. I think that's ridiculous and immature.
I agree. These new modern women. I'm gonna say this, and this is what's so crazy to me, and because everything that we were talking about is funny because it seems like this shit is coming full circle. And this is what I was saying about, like, here we go with another woman disregarding how the man feel. In a relationship, got another man texting, and she sit here like acting like this shit is normal. Like, I got another man texting me trying to get with me, but hell, instead of getting mad, nigga, shit, fight for me. Do I look like I'm in the last kingdom? Like, do I need to be walking around with a shield and sword? Like, where we at right now? We must be in Bizarro World. I would tell you, lady, you need to go see some counseling. You need to get some help. Relationships don't work like that. And I'm almost positive that if that shit was in reverse, you would be losing your motherfucking shit. If a bitch was texting your dude and he said to you, well, damn, baby, don't get mad. Shit, just fight for me.
That's ridiculous.
And we'll see how that shit works the fuck out for you. You know what I'm saying? I just can't deal with that type of shit. I think that shit is preposterous and ludicrous.
Yes, and I think if you're doing that, you should let us know how that turns out by tapping in at spadeperry@gmail.com.
Hey, I want to thank everybody for joining us on Podbean over here. I see you, Chris. I see you, Torch. I just wanted to reach out to y'all, see how y'all doing over there, and just say hello. Is that it? We wrapping up?
Yeah, we're wrapping up. I was just reading and wanted to say thanks for listening to those at Podbean. I actually was looking at some of the comments coming in. We want to let you guys know that we're here every single Friday night at 8 for the Podbean audience. We film on Saturday evenings. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kana Lassiter, and you can find us find me on IG, Twitter, or Facebook at Kana Lassiter.
Find your boy at both platforms, 51 Spade, that's Twitter and IG. I want to thank everybody for joining. Check us out every Friday, YouTube channel. Be looking for these shirts. They